of my biggest leadership qualities is my dedication to service and my dedication to my craft. I don't think a lot of leaders are dedicated to their craft and they don't have the passion to do what they do every day, to wake up, early and go to sleep late just to make sure that they're doing their job efficiently. Well, I wasn't a part of the PCAR committee itself, but I was definitely involved in getting students to be a little bit more knowledgeable about the situation. I remember one situation where we had to run the SLO because people were talking about, oh, Houston didn't tell us about the PCAR report. So I gathered up Brandon and Will and we went to SLO and we had conversations about what's academic renewal mean, what is it going to look like in the next 15 to 20 years, how is that going to effectively change the Howard University community. Then another things that I did as a part of Houston, we galvanized a lot of reports from different student councils, and I was probably, I would say instrumental in getting the co-ops reports in, but I definitely played a role in making sure that happened. The president's goal has to be more explicit. One of the biggest problems with PCAR as it presented itself is that it had a lot of open-ended questions and all the things were left unresolved, and they won't be resolved until they're implemented. So my message to the president is we want to know how you plan on going about these things, and one of the things I do support about the president's vision is that it's going to be very interdisciplinary. That is something that Howard University should have done the last 10 years ago, you know what I mean? It's something that's completely necessary in the academy. I would be a vehicle for the student body's voices as it relates to academic renewal. One of the most important things that the student body needs to recognize is that we have the voice to change. We have the voice to dictate what we want our programs to look like in the next 15 to 20 years, and more or less our reports are what kept those certain majors and concentrations open. So we need to galvanize around those issues and kind of make sure that we have our voices heard properly, and I can do that. I can be a vehicle to do that. I currently serve as the Howard University Student Association Executive Director of Student Advocacy, and previous to that I was in the Howard University Transfer Student Association. I served as the treasurer for 2 years. I think one of the most common efforts that I've done was listen, pay attention to those problems that people keep, that are occurring, that people keep coming to me about, keep saying, oh, this, that, and the third is a problem. And also been hosting, panel sessions, put it on blast, stuff like that, just to make people more knowledgeable about what goes on behind the boardroom. Not necessarily the Board of Trustees, but those other boardrooms that govern the Howard University community. One, the programs of empowerment I didn't touch on. That was more or less, it's kind of my vision of the Undergraduate Student Council, where I sit down with students who have or want the opportunity to become better service leaders, and we sit down, we hash issues that Howard University is going to face, like the fact that the government has cut, $4.9 billion from the Pell Grant program. That's something that's going to affect Howard University immediately, so we need to learn how to hash out those programs. We need to learn how to drive that thing on home. And one of my other biggest selling points would be the Center of Public Service. It's more or less a training ground for tomorrow's leaders. It's kind of different from the programs of the empowerment programs because, well, it's an academic type of building. It's a new facility that I wanted to get put up. We need to have people want to go into health disparities, people want to go into educational disparities, political and social disparities that affect communities of color throughout the diaspora. This is the type of building we come to learn how to combat those things and effectively and aggressively eradicate them.